Alrighty guys, today's notes podcast is going to be on lesson 3.3, solving multi-step equations part 2. Hold on a second, something's not right here. Alright, cut, take 2. Hello peeps. Much better. Today's notes podcast is going to be on lesson 3.3, solving multiple step equations part 2. Grab a pencil, grab your notes/homework spiral, and please write down lesson 3.3, multi-step equations part 2. And you can have a little celebration tonight. There is no homework tonight. Alrighty, please take a moment to write down this equation on your paper. We have the fraction 3/2, parentheses, 3x plus 5, parentheses, equals -24. Please write that equation on your paper. Now, most of us are going to say the fraction 3/2 is touching the parentheses, so let's do the distributive property. I gotta be honest with you. Since we're dealing with a fraction, you probably do not want to have to do the distributive property if you're dealing with a fraction. So yes, you could distribute the fraction, but it's probably not the easiest way for most of us. So I'm going to show you a different way to do the problem. Remember, you probably do not want to have to distribute the fraction. If you distribute the fraction, it would just make you end up going crazy, like the crazy math teacher. So, here's a thought. To get rid of the fraction, let's find the reciprocal. To get rid of this fraction, let's find the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 3/2 would be, very good job, it would be 2/3. How is that, Mr. Phillips? You take the 2, send him to the top, and you send the 3 to the bottom. We're just flipping the fraction. So the reciprocal would be 2/3. Now that I found the reciprocal, I'm going to multiply every term by the reciprocal. Visual people, I'm going to multiply every term by the reciprocal. So this is all one term right here. I am going to multiply this term that's in my box by the reciprocal of 3/2, which is 2/3. Remember in math, whatever you do to one side, you are going to do to the other. So we are going to multiply this term by the reciprocal. So I'm going to put a 2/3 over here, and I am going to multiply by the reciprocal. Now, here's the nice thing when you multiply by the reciprocal. These two fractions will cancel. I'll do it again for my visual people. When you multiply by the reciprocal, the original fraction and the reciprocal will cancel each other. That is really nice. Why? If you don't believe me, 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 over 6 is the same thing as 1 whole. So these will cancel each other. What am I left with? I'm left with 3x plus 5. So I'm going to write 3x plus 5.
But Mr. Phillips, what happened to your parentheses? You don't need them anymore, nor do I use this silly voice anymore.
Now, let's do the right side. I am going to multiply -24 by 2/3. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a fraction. To make it a fraction, I put a denominator of 1. Now, I remember to multiply fractions, I do top times top, bottom times bottom. Multiplying fractions ain't a problem. Top times top, bottom times bottom. Multiplying fractions ain't a problem. A negative 24 times positive 2 will give us negative 48. 1 times 3 will give us 3. This means to divide. So take your calculator and do negative 48 divided by 3. When you do that, you should get the same answer as a crazy math teacher. Negative 48 divided by 3 will give you a negative 16. BRB. Alrighty, so all of this, when I worked it out, gave me negative 16. So I'm going to put an equal sign here. So now my equation is 3x, there you go, Mr. Phillips, plus 5 equals negative 16. Now I can do heart and stars. Isn't it nice now knowing that I do not have to deal with any fractions here? Very nice. Almost as nice as the Colts beating the Vikings the other day. Ouch. So I'm going to put my stars together. When I go across the line,
No!
when I go across the line, I am going to do the opposite operation. The opposite of adding 5 is to subtract 5. I'm going to do it on both sides. These will cancel. I'm left with 3x equals, for my visual people, you'll like this one. You have a negative 16 and a negative 5. Let's pretend, because I know it wouldn't happen in real life, that Jay Cutler was sacked for a 16-yard loss. There's your negative 16. Let's pretend that Jay Cutler on the next play is sacked for a 5-yard loss. There's your negative 5. Altogether, 16 plus 5 gives us 21. Since he was sacked twice, Mr. Phillips is not happy. He's sad.
Now you might be happy, but it doesn't matter how you feel. It's how Mr. Phillips feels.
So a negative 16 and a negative 5 gives you a negative 21. Now, you should be able to say, Mr. Phillips, these are touching each other. In math, that means multiplication. Mr. Phillips, we're going to do the inverse operation, which means division. Nice vocabulary. Da bears. Mr. Phillips, we are going to divide by 3. That was our coefficient. Nice. Da bears. Mr. Phillips, these will cancel each other. Mr. Phillips, this really means negative 21.
Epic fail.
Try again. Much better. This means negative 21 divided by 3. Man, that's almost as bad as the Patriots field goal kicker the other day. Sorry. Negative 21 divided by 3 is going to give us, bada bing, bada boom, a negative 7. There's your solution. All right, guys. That wraps up another power-packed Phillips podcast. Let's hope that the Bears do better than that on Sunday against St. Louis Rams. See ya.